Imagine you're able to go to sleep and able to control any aspect of your dream. Pretty nice, not gonna lie to you. It's a real task to do, you know. I spelled that so wrong. I spelled TK. What the fuck? Ignore that. Anyways, lucid dreaming is not really that hard. We're gonna learn about journaling. Before we even go to journaling, is water. Before going to sleep, it's actually important to be hydrated. The reason you want to be hydrated is being hydrated makes it easier for your body to, like, perfect condition, perfect state for your body to enter a dream. So staying hydrated. But why journal every dream you have? It's very important to write your dreams down. Every single dream you have, every encounter in your mind space, you want to write down. And you want to get in the habit of writing every single dream. I don't care if it doesn't make any sense. You write it down. Trust me, I wrote some things down. I didn't even understand it after I read it after a while. So it's a very important, because if you skip this step, I'm telling you right now, if you do every step in this thing right here, this is why I kind of put it at number 2, number 1-ish. It's because you can literally have a whole dream and everything works, and you're gonna think, oh, nothing of this works. And it's all because you didn't journal. Because if you have a dream and you don't remember, do you really have to dream? You know what I'm saying? And you dream it basically every night. And this is why it's kind of important to journal. Very, very, very important. This is why it's like number 2-ish. 1 and 2, 1 and 2. This is the number. If you learn these 2 right here, you pretty much dream every night. But we're here to lucid dream so you can control it. These 2 will make you, it would expedite the process to make it a lot easier to dream, you know what I'm saying? But this is number 1. Write down every single dream. It's 5 seconds, 10 seconds, a minute. You met LeBron, you beat up your friend. Any single dream you have, write down. Do not skip this. You can't skip this. Very, 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 very important. You can't. You can skip everything else and still come on top if you journal every dream. I'm gonna go straight to the sleep schedule. Now, the reason I'm skipping to the sleep schedule is to make it, you know, easier to understand. You want to know your sleep schedule, and you need at least 6 hours of sleep, bro. You need at least. You don't need the full 8. Now, the reason being, you have about 4 RAM. Oh my God. Oh, you did not see that. You did not see that. 4 RAM cycles right here. You get what I'm saying? There's 4 RAM cycles. And the 1 RAM cycle is around the 1 to 2 hour mark, but we're not gonna aim for that. And this is why I'm saying journal, wake back to bed. You could do this as like you taking a nap during the day. And that's what I mean by that first RAM cycle. We are going to ignore the first RAM cycle. We're gonna ignore it. Pretend I know how to spell words. Ignore the first RAM cycle. This is only for naps. So realistically speaking, we actually have 3 RAM cycles we're gonna go for. And it spans. This is where you're gonna dream. You can aim for this one a little bit hard, but we're aiming for these 2, but mainly this one right here. This is if you're like, most people sleep like 6 hours. So when you are like waking up, this is where it's like, oh yeah, I could kind of remember a dream. It's because you're in this REM cycle, the last REM cycle. And in that case, you would have been able to lucid your dream if you do the wake back to bed method. So that's why it's like, okay, I could wake up right here and enter this one, or I could wake up here, kind of enter this one, and then enter this one a little bit. You get what I'm saying? You understand? Let me know if I'm going too fast. So you have 3 REM cycles you can enter. We're not going to try to enter this one. This one's a little bit too hard, but this one's a lot easier to get into, especially if you have insomnia. Because if you have insomnia, you're trying to end for this one, you're not going to hit it at all. This, you can. So sleep cycles, the next one you really need to know. For me, don't laugh at me, but it takes me about, on average, it takes me about 1 or 2 hours. Depending how sleepy I am or I worked out that day, it takes me about 1 or 2 hours to go to sleep. I use music, I use frequencies to, go to sleep easier. So it's still an hour or 2 hours. I'm still awake. So calculating that, let's say go to sleep around 12:01. I wake up at 4, wake up at 6. Right here, I'm waking up at the 3 mark. So I'm about to enter this dream. Since I woke up right here-ish, I'm going to be in this dream, and I'm going to teach you the method. Pretty easy. Something like that. So it's very important to know your sleep schedule. Wake back to bed, like I said just a little bit ago. If you do the wake back to bed technique, and you do any technique, it's basically guaranteed if you kind of know how to meditate. And this is why it connects. It's very important to know you know how to meditate. It's not, you don't need to know how to do it for an hour. That's BS. All you need is 30 minutes. Once you can do 30 minutes, you pretty much got it, right? But the wake back to bed method, very, very, very important. Remember, journaling helps to remember. And the wake back to bed facilitate to dream. Just doing this increases the technique by 40 to 60%. So on the plus side, the wake back to bed method is important, the sleep schedule is important, and the journaling is also important. Now I'm gonna talk about reality checks, and the meditation one is not too important, because that one is very used for another technique, and you're not gonna learn that one yet because you gotta learn the basics. I can't teach you that technique, but this one helps wild if you know what that one is. I'm not gonna teach you that one because that one takes this one, and I gotta teach you 2 things, and I just want to teach you the simplest thing is lucid dreaming. It slows down the body. Let me get rid of wild. But that's one of the techniques that uses meditation heavily. But yeah, meditation slows down the body, makes it easier for you to go to sleep. So for dreaming purposes, for dreaming purposes, another way that facilitates you going to sleep easier is put a G. Oh my God, what is happening to me? Comfortability. If you're not comfortable, you're not gonna sleep well. And if you don't sleep well, you will not dream. And if you don't dream, you're not gonna remember if you even dream. So it's very, very, very important to be comfortable too. Wake back to bed with comfortability is very good. This is why staying hydrated while going to sleep is very important. Now, meditation slows down the body, and if you use music, frequency music, 432 hertz or 528, it makes it easier to go to sleep. That's what I don't really use that no more. I really use binaural beats. I can't really spell it. Binaural beats, and I use theta waves and delta waves. Is it delta waves? It's theta. It's mainly theta though. I use theta. And you can look that up on YouTube. It does help you go to sleep, but it doesn't help you lucid dream, but it helps you with the technique. You get what I'm saying? So, and the last step is reality checks. This is very, very important. There's a lot of reality checks you can do. For instance, you can hold your nose in your dream and see if you could breathe. Now, I don't do this because of the same reason as if I go to sleep to take a piss, I'm gonna do it in real life. And if I do it in my dream and I believe I'm choking, I'm just gonna choke in real life. But this is one of the techniques you can use. I don't recommend it because, like I just said, it doesn't really make sense. But you can count your fingers, but before you count it, you have to believe you have 6 fingers. And then you just count it from there, and you should have 6 fingers. Now, I don't do this one either because it takes a lot of mind power. So the one I use, and it's very useful, all you do is you say, if something has to occur around your environment, like something random to make it a lot better, you do it about 3 to 4 times every day. You do it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You keep doing it to make it a lot easier. And all you do is, am I dreaming? You have to really believe and commit and be like, am I dreaming? Put it through your palm. You do it a few times, and then boom. This sets up for a method that this is breaking it down so I can show you the method. So you could do that one. That one's very good because it doesn't take too much, and if you believe, your hand will go through your palm, and it's magical. You're like, yo, what? It went through my palm? You're gonna be thinking you're on drugs. It's pretty cool, not gonna lie. Magical powers right there. Journaling is very important so you can remember your dream, and every time you have a dream, it's gonna be easier to remember. Reality check, so you can be like, oh yeah, easier to enter the dream while you sleep. Meditation to help you ease into the dream. Sleep cycle, so you could pick one cycle or know how the cycles work so you can work in and out of the dream. And yes, you could extend it a little bit, but remember, in the dream space, time is not really real-ish, so you're not really expending it. You're just increasing your consciousness or focus to like make the dream a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and wake back to bed. The best method to lucid dreaming, and the best foundation if you actually want to lose your dream. So getting all of this, I'm gonna erase this and show you a method that's pretty easy to follow. Meditation, I could teach you one right now. All you do is you feel in your lungs, you breathe in through your nose like this, but you're taking in all the air through like your middle chest, and you squeeze all the way to the top of your head. If you know, you know why. You don't have to do this, of course. You could just fill in your lungs at your regular if you don't know how to do that. And then you hold it for like 5 seconds, and you exhale through your mouth slowly in a controlled way. We need to slow down the heart rate, slow down the body, listen to frequencies. This will put you to sleep. I'm telling you, undefeated. At max, it took me 2 hours, but I was relaxed. Simple. Follow me. You gotta follow through. You gotta follow through. All right. DILD. And to do this method is, remember what we were just doing, right? Do you remember? It's okay if you don't remember. I'm running it down right now. It's reality checks throughout the whole day, like I just told you. Pretty easy, right? Yeah, I just told you how to do that. It's pretty easy. Boom this, boom that, every few hours, and you got it. So that's step 1. And then step 2. Guess what? Journal. That's all you got to do. Journal. I know. I know it's simple. I know it's kind of simple. Now, the reason you want to do reality checks and have a journal is to build memory here. You want to build memory here. You want to increase your memory to the point when you enter for the third one, when you enter a dream, when weird stuff is happening and you do the reality check, you are in the dream and your hand will go through. It will go through. It will go through, pass, and now you are in a lucid dream where you can control everything in your mind. Don't go too crazy now. Don't go too crazy. You're not at the level where you could like create stuff, you know. You gotta build imagination in your brain while being calm, and this is why meditation is very important. You see how easy this technique is? This technique is easy. It's very easy. Now, can you do this after doing this? Kind of. I'm going to tell you why in a little bit. Now I'm going to show you the next technique. Like, let's say you failed this technique. You could do the second technique, all right? Y'all following through? This is pretty easy. You know how Kyrie Irving goes in the paint and he, you know, does a bunch of stuff and switch up his layup and still make it? Yeah, this is one of those. This is the other technique. This is actually more easier than this one, because it doesn't really take much. You could even do it tonight type shit. This one takes a week. You can do it tonight. It's very easy. This one is dream exit induced lucid dreaming. Most people go to sleep around 12. Let me just make it easy. 12 a.m. or it's a.m. My fault. Yes, a.m. And remember the window. I'll put up the chart if you want to see. And we're aiming for that 3.5, 4 hour mark. So knowing that, especially if you have insomnia, our goal is then to be asleep around this time or 1 and wake up between 3:30 or 4:30. These 2 times will be the best because we're going to enter the second REM cycle. And from there, once we enter that second REM cycle, we can enter the third REM cycle, but not yet. Now to do this, all you do is pretty much wake up between these times. So we're doing the wake back to bed technique. Like in between the second REM cycle. We're in between. Ignore that. Anyways, you're in between the REM cycles here. And that's what makes this technique very powerful. Because to really fail here is if you don't journal. This is why I say, no matter what technique you do, if you don't journal, this is like number 1 here. It's like, I spelled journal wrong, but don't worry about that. It's like trying to play basketball without, like, it's like being a point guard without knowing how to dribble. Like, the wake back the bag is to shoot, and the journal is to dribble. You get what I'm saying? You gotta have both as a point guard to be a finisher, you know? You can't be a point guard, can't dribble, you get what I'm saying? You gotta have both. So, but the thing is, even without the journal, this technique is still powerful. Especially if you don't do this. If you don't do this, it's pretty much there already. You pretty much have it. Once you wake back to bed, there's 2 things you can do. You can go right back to sleep. Or do something for 15 to 30 minutes. If you have insomnia, do the first one. Don't even do the second one. If you have insomnia, it actually works out for you too. It's a win-win, because if you go back to sleep, your chances of lucid dreaming is still like 50-50 now. But if you do something for 15 to 30 minutes, it increases the chances to 60 to 40 once again, because your brain is more activated. It's more brain activity. So you're able to really enter the dream right back with increased awareness And you're able to remember your dream more easier, especially if you use a journal. So if you use your journal, do wake the back to bed technique, and you are in between your second REM cycle, you're literally there, and all you have to do is go back to sleep, guaranteed a lucid dream. And that's the method. It's very, very powerful. Alright, so you might be wondering, how do I do this? I've been waiting the whole video, and I'm trying to do this, alright? I'm trying to do this. I'm like, don't worry. How you think I have the techniques? And I do this too. So if I'm able to do this and this, it's pretty easy. Now the same thing is literally it's the same thing. Now it's a little bit tweaked, and it's the same thing. Take everything I just said here. Take everything here. Now, the only difference, I'm gonna write it down, is the awareness. So this is green, follow through. This is for people that, smokes. There's 2 ways, and it's the same technique. So let's say 12 a.m., right? We're taking this to account. So minus 4 hours. You want to minus 4 hours. So about 4 to 6 hours before going to bed. You want to smoke about 4 to 5 hours before you go to bed. Do everything here and to smoke before bed, 4 to 6 hours before bed. The reason being is because you're gonna have REM rebound. Now, the first time I was doing this, I was smoking right before bed. And did it work? Yes, it did work. This is another technique. You do the same thing, but you smoke 1 hour before bed. You wake up at the same time, and then you get a REM rebound. But the reason I don't do this technique is because it's a lot harder to calculate. You will have to know your tolerance. You will have to know your strain. You will have to know when you're coming back from the REM rebound. You can't smoke too much. It's a lot to manage within this amount of time. Did I do it with edibles? Yes. Is it easy? No. It's hard to calculate. You can't. It's hard to calculate with edibles. Weed, you can. Carts, you can. Edibles, a little bit hard. But if you smoke too much, the REM rebound won't come through. And it's very important you need that REM rebound. So this is why I say smoke 4 to 6 hours before bed, because you're gonna hit that REM rebound. You're still gonna hit that REM rebound even without sleeping. And you just do the same technique and it will be a lot better. The earlier you smoke, especially like around 8 hours before sleep, the easier the technique will become. So if you smoke midday, then you have the easiest chance in the world to do it. When it comes down to that 4 hour mark, if you have like not the best, but like great concentration, then you can still do this method within the 4 hour mark. It gets fishy within the 3 to 2 hour mark, and once you go to sleep, you lose that like hour of sleep. So you kind of don't want to do that within that time. Basically, your brain will be out of the high, and boom, you get that REM rebound. Boom, with your dreams, boom, you're able to enter that REM cycle. Now, the thing is, if you do this, you actually lose 1 REM cycle if you do get high. If you smoke 4 to 6 hours before. The last REM cycle is going to be harder to hit because of that THC. And it doesn't really matter because, I'm not going to lie, most people don't sleep that long. Most people sleep between 6 to 7 hours, not 8. So it kind of doesn't really matter. You're not going to control that dream long enough to really benefit from it. So that's why we hit these 2 REM cycles here. Remember, in total, there's about 4. If you do smoke and you do dream, lucid dream or anything, to increase the chances of this, because like I said, the REM rebound, to make the process easier from, smoking, imagine, I don't know how to spell it, nation, like the Fire Nation, good enough. You want great imagination before you go to sleep. And this is if you're high or not, it doesn't really matter. it increases your awareness a lot. So very important that you use your imagination before you go to sleep. This helps you, like, let's say you, nah, I'm not even gonna say that, Cham. I ain't gonna say that, Cham. I ain't gonna say that. But you know, I'm gonna put it down. You'll understand. But one of those dreams, or you know, stuff like that, once you're like, hey yo, my brain, can you create this for me and stuff, then your brain's gonna be like, okay, I can create that once you go to sleep. And you know, once you enter that dream, you're in that, oh yeah, this is pretty good, you know. It's a lot enjoyable. This is why you sometimes have nightmares when your, you know, emotions are down, when you're scared or something tragic happened in your life. It's all about the emotion here. You want to increase the emotion as much as possible. You want that happy emotion. Happy emotion. Anything. You need it. If not, then nightmares will occur. You don't want no nightmares. It's very, very avoidable too. But to avoid that, you will have to be a warrior and face it. So, or not think about it. But anyways, this technique is very useful, especially if you smoke. Very useful. All you gotta do is smoke 4 to 6 hours before, or if you're like that, you can smoke 1 hour before and try to hit one of the REM cycles. But if you do it, if you hit one of the REM cycles with this method, if you smoke 1 hour, oh, you're a marker. If you smoke 1 hour before, you have 1 less REM cycle. So always remember that if you do this 1 hour before, which is possible, or 4 to 6 hours before, which is even more possible, you lose that 1 REM cycle because your body's not going to sleep for that long now. It lost it. So basically what happened was you're stuck in this 3rd sleep cycle for longer. The deep sleep cycle before you enter REM, you're in that cycle for a lot longer than you have to be because you smoked for 1 hour before, and you get that REM rebound within the 4-hour mark because your brain is now, oh, I don't have no THC in my body. Now you're in the 1st REM cycle now. Remember, you have 8 hours of sleep. You basically lost 2 hours of sleep. This is why you're only able to enter 3 REM cycles if you do smoke. But if you smoke here, like I said, that will be gone and your brain will be normal. And you can actually lose your dream and still hit all the REM cycles. But you smoke 1 hour before, boom. You only have to, remember I explained there was 4 REM cycles you could hit. You're going to only hit the 3 later ones because of that. But it's going to be squeezed. And this is why you could sometimes still remember your dream after, you know, 5 to 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. You get what I'm saying? So this method I wouldn't recommend, but this method I would recommend, and it's pretty easy. You can even do 3 hours before. All you got to do is time it more. So -1 now. You will add another hour to that, and it'll be 4:30 or something. But overall, this takes the least amount of work. I could teach you the mile, I could teach you the while, I could teach you all of them. It's pretty easy. As long as you know those terms, those key terms, you pretty much know all the methods. Pick one that suits you. I recommend doing both methods if you actually want to lucid dream. This method is pretty easy. You don't have to do much. You just attempt, and if you're having a hard time to schedule a time to wake up, like I said, you can use water. And the key here is to drink about 1.5 to 2 bottles of water. Sometimes a 2.5 bottles of water should suffice too. Fractions, I know, don't be scared, it's not math. But yeah, 1.5 to 2.5 waters. So you can just naturally wake up, take a piss, go to sleep. Pretty easy. And also try to avoid the light if possible, because it's going to blind them. And you know, it's going to wake up your body. So yeah, try your best. Remember, your goal here is to increase vivid dreams so you can lucid dream. So the methods won't work all in one night. It may take a week, it may take 2 weeks, it may take a month. But all you gotta do is be patient, consistent. You got it. It's not hard. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. Any questions, let me know down below. Feel free to ask.